evening. Boy, I just had to catch my camera there. It was starting to fall backwards. How is everybody tonight? It is good to have you here. Sorry I was a minute or two late. I was backing up Lightroom and it took a lot longer to back up than is. Yay. It's good to be here. It's a nice sunny evening and I've got a couple of my bucket fillers here. It's first inning batter up. Time for story and art night. Yes, Linda, welcome. And Tamara. Oh, yes. How is your shoulder, Linda? Still in that sling? Linda is dislocated her shoulders, so she's in a sling and typing one-handed, which is admirable in and of itself. But yeah, it's good to be here, you guys. And it is that night where I have, oh, it's sore. I'm sorry. It's amazing how much we use our shoulder. When I tore my rotator cuff a couple times and stuff, you can't even, you use your shoulder when you sit up. I couldn't do, I was doing stuff. I couldn't do leg lifts. I couldn't do any kind of even kind of exercises that I thought, oh, I can do exercises that are on my legs. But no, because your shoulder, it was not fun. Amazing what those shoulders, how important they are. But for tonight, we have some stuff going. We have artwork from Tamara, and I have a little progress on my own watercolor. Did I have my? Oh, yeah, I do. What I've been doing. So I'll get right on to show you those. Oh, and see, there's a blank, but I have it black for a reason like that. So Tamara first, let's see what her email said. It said, I've done very little art lately, but I did this acrylic on watercolor, which is this one, on watercolor paper, and turned it into a collage for today. I used old stencils. You have seen these images many times before. So she took the one from watercolor and acrylic and then cut it up for collage. It's easy for me to create something quick. I did the acrylic paper painting on our Saturday and did the collage today, our Sunday. Stages 1, 2, and let's see, 3 is the final piece. Yeah, that's beautiful. Just whipped something up overnight, huh? I love it. It's really pretty. The color combination is very cool from going from here with the almost Payne's gray kind of blue and then that orange red and then to get this. I love it. Just nice. Hey, Susan, nice to have you here. SJ Pouring Color, good to have you here. Looks like what's in my yeah. Boy, exactly. Had kind of confused and stuff, but that's beautiful. I think it's really nice. Super good job. And there we go. Now, it's probably going to be too dark. I bet I forgot to adjust the thing. So when we get to mine, you're going to see a fairly dark screen. Yep. So let me just fix that for you. I have not figured out how to make this camera hold on to the exposure that it's supposed to. And it keeps going back, compensating like down by 3. So here we go back up. There we go. Back to normal. Here we go. So World Watercolor Month for me is getting there. And so we've done, I think we had, one was for in street food, and I did ice cream, and it stuck to my page. Then there was this thing about doing grays, and we were mixing our own grays, and I didn't really like doing that one. I was just doing some penguins. I haven't done the avocado one, which you were supposed to make your own greens. and I kind of skipped that day, but I did draw out the avocado things that I'm going to do. But then there was one called Howl. So I found a picture kind of and how to draw a wolf um, on on online, and then I did that and kind of made it larger and did my own little howling at the moon wolf. That was kind of fun. For that was Howl, and that was using indigo and burnt umber were what we were doing. And I don't think I had burnt umber. I might have had burnt sienna. No, I had raw umber, not burnt umber. So anyway, that was kind of a fun thing to do. And I got a masking pen to do some stuff. And then yesterday was C, and Diane Anton she did it using. Thanks, Susan. That's really nice of you to say. So this was kind of using all the greens in my Kiritaki set, and then coming on. And then the top ones I use. There's this. It's called a blush gold kind of, and it really has a lot of green to it. And then I put a kind of a yellow green up here for the kind of the sky, and then added little stuff along the way because the prompt was sea, like the ocean sea. And then today's was drift, which was, and we're supposed to use lavender. And she did a drift of flowers. And I literally went out half an hour ago and did this. And I think I might do that one again because I like the lavenders, but I would rather paint lavender and stuff. So I was just doodling. And what else did I do? Oh, and then I doodled one night. I did some doodles. And that felt really good to, it feels really good to do my morning pages writing in the morning and then to close the night with some doodles to get any leftover stuff that's in my brain still get out of there. And it just is that kind of random things. And plus I'm going through and trying to finish up a sketchbook. This is an old sketchbook that I've had well, Lachlan did some stuff with me, and I had birds from 2024. So this is an old one. And, with what I did with Rory, with a 3 or 4-year-old. So anyway, that was my art this week. And, Susan, this doodling one I did, the October, I did it Inktober, and I followed somebody who had a Zen doodle, and I did a Zentangle every day, and I really kind of got into it and what Zentangle has and the different patterns. So that was kind of a fun thing for me to do with that. So, oops, why is that there? That's not the right one. There. Here we go. There we go. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, sometimes it works out really well and other times it doesn't, but it sure kind of feels, I get to, I'm not picking at my nails when I'm watching TV or something like that and all of that kind of stuff that I did. So, yeah. Wait, a friend of mine, Alicia T, we've decided that my that some people, that my art is creativity. That's kind of mine, is different, doing different creating kind of things. And she calls me, and we're putting, and I'm a kaleidoscope. I'm a kaleidoscope creator. So it's like you turn the kaleidoscope and who knows what's going to come up and who knows what I'm going to put together. And it's kind of, and so I kind of just say, oh, okay. Yeah, I like that. So, so much. As Susan said, thank you, you guys. That's fun. I love having it. And and it's really your encouragement. All three of you have been around since the beginning and have watched it go from only being photos to trying just what I would teach kindergartners to trying maybe pour art. and but even not going very far on that because you guys are all so much better at it, and just playing and then feeling free to play with stuff, and you guys all encourage that, and so that's really kind of cool, and I appreciate that so much. And I'm just double checking, making sure that I didn't get anything else in the mail. um I don't think I got any emails other than live art. Nope, just Tamara's today. Just Tamara's today. Good. Got that. Close my mail. And pull things up, making sure everything else I was. But I have been working on, I was working on Lightroom today, and it was, it was glitching around back and forth, but I was pulling through and looking for certain things. I went to an art fair on Saturday morning, um, and it was called the Fair Harbor Art Fair. And I just saw a lot of really artists. And I met a fellow photographer there, and his wife owns a printing company. And he prints on metals, and she does the metal printing for him. And they're in Bremerton. They're not too far away, which is so nice to find somebody local because yes, I use Bayphoto on my website, but I don't from them myself directly. It's just convoluted, and I'd rather support a local kind of person. Just one of those things. I have Bayphoto is good, but yeah, if I can support a local artist and family and stuff, I'll do that. So tonight, talk about local. The book I have tonight is written by a gentleman named Mark Holtzing. And Mark and his family live in Seattle. He taught third grade for over a decade and a half. In addition to writing, he rides bicycles, reads books, listens to great music, and believes in the spirit of baseball. And then John Skews is the illustrator. He's a professional illustrator living in Seattle, and he worked as a product designer and character artist for Disney before starting his own company, Retrodyne Industries. He has illustrated over 20 children's books. He's done all the Larry series. Larry Gets Lost in Seattle, Larry Gets Lost in New York, in those. But this book is is pretty fun. Oh, my water's over there. That's okay. And it's it kind of hit my heart a bit. I told you about the stories about my grandmother and that we would do in Grandma's Rocker and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that was a big deal for Grandma or at Grandma's house was my grandfather loved to watch baseball games on TV, and he would turn the radio on to listen to the games on the radio and have the TV going at the same time. And a lady named Ruth McBaron came over, and Ruth was a friend of theirs. She had been a nurse when my grandmother had been sick and had helped out, and they became close friends. And Ruth came over. She was a huge baseball fan, and that was when we would have 7-Up floats. Grandma and I would walk to the grocery store in the morning to get 7-Up and vanilla ice. And in the afternoon when the game was on, we would turn it all on, and Ruth would come over, and we would make 7-Up floats and watch the game. And it was just one of those great memories. And the games that we were watching were what this book is about. Book is called A Ticket to the Pennant, A Tale of Baseball in Seattle, which is pretty cool. And let me show you the front cover. We'll start right there. Come on. Oh, that one's dark too. Come on. Why are you doing this to me? Compensation. Is that not the right? There it is. There it is. Am I on the wrong one? Oh. There we go. Desk book. I had the wrong scene. Let me make this a little smaller for you. But the cover, A Tale of Baseball in Seattle, 6 Seattle Stadium, um, and the Rainiers were the baseball team in Seattle. And this was before the Mariners. Seattle baseball fans loved the Seattle Rainiers. Now, the Rainiers are still around. They're the Mariners' farm team. They're called the Tacoma Rainiers now. But this is a story set back in the day. And what's fun about it is it takes you through the city of Seattle. And to do this, because the stadium was in the Rainier Valley, and there was a beautiful view of Mount Rainier. When you were sitting in the stadium, you could see it. So this is the story I get to share with you today. A ticket to the pennant. Huey had his glove, his lucky shirt, and his cap. He was all ready for the game. Now he just needed his Rainiers to win, and he needed his ticket. Today was the deciding game of the series between the Seattle Rainiers and the Los Angeles Angels. But Huey couldn't find this ticket. He had searched everywhere. Where could it be? He had it yesterday when he went shopping with his mother. He would have to retrace his steps on the way to the stadium, and the game started in 20 minutes. Now, this is set, I think, like in 1956. He ran out of the house. The next-door neighbor sat listening to the radio. "Mr. Barnett, have you seen my ticket?" Huey asked. "Nope. You lost it?" Huey nodded his head yes. "Well, you're welcome to come on the porch and listen with us, Huey." Announcer Leo Lassen's nasal voice came over the radio. "The Rainiers and Angels are here at 6 Stadium in Seattle, baseball fans. The Suds and Halos have taken batting practice. Pitchers are warming up. It's been a tight race for the pennant." Lassen continued to warm up the fans. "Steffens is on the hot corner. Balsina is patrolling center. Mount Rainier is the big ice cream cone over Franklin High tonight, folks." "Lemonade, Huey?" Mrs. Barnett asked. Their porch was tempting. "No thanks, Mr. and Mrs. Barnett. I gotta find my ticket." Huey ran down Dearborn to Rainier Avenue and turned left. Bus number 7 rolled by. As he scanned the ground for his ticket, the smell of Italian cooking almost distracted him. Meatballs or ravioli? Huey thought he could hear the murmur of the stadium 12 blocks away. That's the tunnel that, oh my gosh. Near the I-90 bridge, he heard Leo from a car radio. "Cratlow's off to a shaky start. 2 Angels aboard." Huey's gut tightened. After 2 more blocks, he neared Borrachini's Bakery, where he and his mother had stopped yesterday for bread. Maybe he left his ticket there. "Hi, Huey. Can you fetch me some of the tomatoes from the truck? Remo is more interested in the game," said Mrs. Borrachini, the baker's wife, rolling her eyes, "like everyone else." Huey groaned. He needed to find that ticket, but he wanted to be a good neighbor. "Sure, Mrs. B," he said, and he dashed outside. When he came back in, he heard Leo again. "Another fastball for strike 3, and up come the Rainiers." Huey needed the game to go slower. Already the bottom of the inning, he had to hurry. "Did you find a ticket lying around, Mrs. Borrachini? I lost mine." "Oh, goodness, no, Huey. I'm so sorry." "Good luck. Thank you for your help." Huey paused in the doorway to listen. "Hutch has all the right-handers in the lineup tonight to face Joe Hatton, the Halo southpaw. Bags all stepped up." "Anytime, Mrs. B," and Huey raced down Rainier Avenue. The street was quiet. Huey overheard Leo's voice through the window of an apartment building. "Basgall took third on a wild pitch after his double to left. Now Rigady's up. And I can't say Rigidi's had a hot bat this year, but let's see if he can bring Basgall home. Huey sprinted to Mutual Fish next. Had he left the ticket near the crab tank yesterday while his mother chose the trout? The bell over the door rang and he zipped in. The crowd at the stadium just 2 blocks away roared. It was so loud Huey could hear it even after the door closed. "Why aren't you at the game, Huey?" asked Mr. Yashimura. "And how was the fish last night?" "It was good, thanks," said Huey, "but I can't find my ticket. Have you seen it?" From behind the counter, Lassen's voice echoed from the shop radio. "Rigidi punches a single to left. Bagsall comes across the plate. Rainier's score." Mr. Yashimura hadn't seen the ticket and was closing up early. The rest of the fishmongers were already at the game. After a quick goodbye, Huey ran on toward the stadium. A block away, he realized he had forgotten his glove at the fish store and he had to race back to get it. Huey burst onto the street. He could see Mount Rainier on the horizon. Off to the left loomed Six Stadium, tall and gleaming and against the green hills of the Mount Baker neighborhood. The stands came into view. Cars filled the parking lot and the fans filled the wooden bleachers. Cheapskate Hill outside left field, where those who didn't or couldn't pay watched the game from the Vaca family farm, was full too. Huey zoomed past the house where Kenneth from his baseball team lived. He saw the Barrel Burger joint. It would be packed after the game with Rainier fans and maybe even some players. I remember that place. A radio sat on a stack of crates at Pre's garden patch. A small crowd gathered around. "Balsina's up to bat. The Filipino flycatcher looks good tonight, folks. They could use his speed on the bases." Balsina was Huey's favorite, a great hitter and fast, too. Huey even got his autograph at the Barrel once. But how could it already be at the bottom of the second? Huey ran faster. He veered into a group standing along the wall in the parking lot. He saw his classmate Jane, who sometimes got in if she returned a ball to the ballpark. "What are you doing out there, Huey?" Jane hollered. "I can't find my ticket," Huey said. Jane smacked her forehead. "Unless someone hits a ball over the fence, we're not seeing nothing." It was the top of the third. This was his last place to find the ticket. He rushed to Mr. Pontero's shop. Huey saw the quickly scrawled sign, "Closed for the game." Now what was he going to do? The cheer went up. Was another Angels batter out? Did Balsina just make a great play at center field? He had to know. Huey grabbed his hat and swatted it against his thigh in frustration. He stretched out his hands and yelled at the sky, "Where is my ticket?" And he looked down. There was his ticket. Fluttering to the ground, it landed at his feet. "Well, I'll be." Now he remembered. He had put it in his hat the day before for safekeeping. Huey picked the ticket up and ran across the street to the front gates. The crowd cheered. "Little late, aren't you?" the ticket taker said. "You know they're playing for the pennant today, right, kid?" Huey ran bumping through the crowd. There they were, his Rainiers. Huey moved through the aisles to the left field bleachers. Another cheer went up. Rigetti, the infielder, ran toward first. Bagsall was already crossing home plate. "Rainiers are up 3-0 in the bottom of the fourth." A nearby hot dog hustler hollered, hot dogs, get your hot dogs." A woman blew a piercing whistle. Huey loved it all. The manager, Hutch, watched from the steps looking over the field. Balsina stood in the dugout. Huey's friend Pat, the bat boy, waved. Huey, hello, Huey's teacher, Mrs. Severson, called from one row down. Great game, isn't it? Here, we have an extra seat cushion. He thanked her and sat down. You're late, his teammate Kenneth said, handing Huey a bag of peanuts. Huey took a deep breath. He'd made it, and the Rainiers were ahead, but he knew better than to get too relaxed. Anything can happen in baseball. They filled out their scorecard and ate a hot dog through the fifth, shelled peanuts in the sixth, then sang, Take Me Out to the Ball Game, and stretched during the seventh. It was still 3-0, Rainiers. At the top of the eighth, the crack of the bat put them on the edge of their seats. It's a single! Looks like trouble, folks, announced Leo. Sometimes Huey wished Leo wasn't so honest. Huey, along with the rest of the crowd, cringed as yet another base hit. The Angels scored. It was 3-1. Hutch called for another pitcher, the dependable Bill Kennedy. But the ninth inning started off no better. Fireman Bill walked him, Leo said. The tying run's at the plate. This does not look good, Rainier fans. With one man on base, Kennedy struck out the next batter. Then he struck out another. 2 outs. The Rainiers could still win, or they could lose. Not a finger left in the stadium, folks. Kennedy threw the pitch, a sharp grounder to third. Zernia, the third baseman, dove for the ball and threw to Glenn at first, but oh no, the ball bounced into the dirt. But Glenn stretched and dug the ball out of the dirt and into his glove. The final out. Huey and the rest of the crowd leaped from their seats. Everyone threw cushions high into the air until they fell like snow from the sky. Huey saw Mr. Borrachini the baker cheering, Mr. Yoshimura nearby backslapping a fellow fishmonger, and the barber, Mr. Pontera, shaking hands with Mrs. Severson. From the radio, Leo yelled, Seattle has won the pennant. Now, some author's notes about this. You notice the names of different people and different things about this. The Borrachini's Bakery. It's been I don't know if it's still there, but, well, let's see. When was this book written? Because they moved it. This was in 2016, so things might have changed. But this is the way the Mount Baker tunnels used to look. This is kind of a rendition that go through the hill, Mount Baker Hill, and then go out to the I-90 bridge out to Lake Washington. They've been rebuilt, but these were there. So Dearborn is a street that's still there. Rainier Avenue is still there. All these places that he has in this book, a lot of them are still there and would have been places like the Franklin High School. In the 50s, Seattle baseball was the only game in town. Men and women amateur teams played all over the region, but the heart of the city belonged to the Seattle Rainiers, and it did. The team battled rivals like the Oakland Oaks, the San Francisco Seals, and the Portland Beavers. These clubs were part of the Pacific Coast League, a high-level minor league that a notch below the majors. Future major leaguers Ted Williams and Joe DiMaggio got their start in the PCL. The Seattle Rainiers were dominant in that era, winning 5 championships. Today, Seattle has a Major League Baseball team, the Seattle Mariners, as well as the Tacoma Rainiers, which are the Mariners' AAA farm team. And they kept the Rainiers name in honor of the Rainiers. When beer baron Emil Sick bought the Seattle PCL team in 1937, he changed their name from the Indians to the Rainiers and built a new stadium on McClellan and Rainier Avenue in the diverse Rainier Valley. Rainier Valley is still a very diverse area. Sick's Stadium was the pride of the Pacific Coast League with a capacity near 12,000, and they oftentimes sold out. Leo Lassen, the great Gabbo, was the voice of Seattle baseball from 1931 until 1960. TV broadcasts began in 1949, but people watching still kept the radio on to hear Leo. Outfielder Bobby Balsina was the first player of Filipino descent to play professionally in the United States. He was fast, friendly, and a favorite of kids. He gave Pat Patrick, the Bat Boy, his Wilson glove at the end of the '56 season. Fred Hutchinson was signed to the Rainiers out of Franklin High School in South Seattle after the 1937 high school baseball season. Hutch went on to be a respected major league player and manager for 22 years, 10 as a player and 12 as a manager. He was diagnosed with cancer at age 44. His brother, Dr. William Hutchinson, named Seattle's Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center to honor his memory. The Hutch Award, awarded annually since 1965, is given to a major league player who shows honor, courage, and dedication. I did not know that's where the Fred Hutchinson named it. Fred Hutchinson Cancer Clinic is a world-renowned cancer clinic research center. Dewey Soriano, the general manager of the Rainiers, joined the team in 1939. In 1955, he recruited Hutch to manage, but he had played ball with Fred since they were boys in the Rainier Valley. Mutual Fish and Borrachini's Bakery have been in business since before 1955. Mutual Fish was at a Jackson Street location then, but the author relocated it to its current Rainier Avenue address. So it's still on. Oh, it is still there. I know what fish market that is. This, as well as other geographical liberties, have been taken for the purpose of telling this story. So I thought that was pretty cool. That they used everything. Huskies lose done for season. Letterman hunt. Twisted leg halts back scrimmage. Use parts of the old magazines. Seattle Sunday Times Sports. I love how they did this. And the Rainiers. A little bit of Seattle for you. That's why at the beginning, in the opening, it was the in the very beginning. Let me show you that opening. It kind of came up beforehand. Let's see, Sean Telnight here in this just kind of first opening sort of video. The picture in the background, that's not Rainier, and that's why I did that. Let me go back down to. There we go. Yes. There we go. So, bombarded with severe thunder, cross your fingers and keep power. Oh my gosh, yes. You are down there, and it's rough down there. Craziness. I mowed earlier. Bob was mowing yesterday. Of course, I was on. What was I doing? I was on something online, of course, and he decides he's going to do that. Our lake is so full now that all the rain we've had some fairly high tides here, but Adrian loves baseball. He played when he was young. He's good at it too. The only way to see baseball. I love this cool book. I like the visuals. They snap together really well with the story. And the guy who does Larry Gets Lost in Seattle and Larry Gets Lost in New York, the whole Larry series is hilarious. And he did a good job with the illustrations, and so it's kind of, you can see it, okay, so the kid's running across, and when he said, that the bus, what was it? He turned left and bus number 7 rolled by. That's still in a route in the Seattle Metro buses, the bus 7, and that's still the route it takes. And in the Mount Baker Tunnel, and then used to be kind of a more remote area, but it was just always a really diverse neighborhood, and I loved how they put that in with all the different things in it. Stewart Lumber and Hardware. That was a place down there. But uh, this, I think they finally took the barrel down, the barrel burger joint. It it was kind of one of those. We had one that had was like a cowboy hat too. And then there's one in Eastern Washington that is a gas station that looks like, I can't remember what it looks like, but the barrel was that was quite something. You know how they did that in the 50s? They had those places. And that was the view. You got to see Mount Rainier when you went to the baseball game. I mean, well, you can see it from Seattle anywhere, but uh, it's kind of cool to see and how it was out. Now, Mount Baker now, that whole area is completely covered with homes and buildings and all kinds of stuff. And the Sixth Stadium is no longer there. But that was one of the fun things about that. I liked it. Hey, Lupe. Oh, you didn't know you didn't. I kind of unplugged things, Lupe, and I plugged things back in. It was funny because after we had those glitches in that night with audio, I went back and I listened to the audio on the afterwards on YouTube, and it was fine. So something was happening here. I think here we've had weird kind of wind situations when the wind has come up and it makes things kind of unstable. Unstable. Yay. Yes, thundering dog going nuts. Oh, man. It's raining there. We haven't had rain, yay, for a little bit. We had a little bit overnight the other night, but it's been sunny and nice. Last week it was in the 90s. This week it's been in the upper 70s. But yeah, nope. Anyway, that's the one book I was going to share tonight was A Ticket to the Pennant. And it was a little longer book, and just my Seattle kind of share a little bit of my home. It's kind of fun because some of these places, I mean, Bob as a kid used to go to the Rainiers game, and his dad was a big baseball fan too. And they would take the bus down to go to the games and stuff. But it's nice to see the history that it gives, because I did not know that the man that Fred Hutchinson Cancer Clinic was named after a guy who had been a player for the Rainiers and had been their manager for 12 years. So that's pretty cool. And all of these different little tidbits about that. And that Seattle had the very first professional Filipino baseball player. That's cool. Excellent. Anyway, you guys, that's my deal for tonight for Story and Art. I'll be back on Thursday with more. I have probably will do more stories that night. When I went to the library, I checked out more, and so I have a couple, 3 that fit together, and I think I have like 6 books over there, so I have enough to cover a couple different nights. So I'll do those, but this was a little longer one, and stick with one. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you much for sending in your art. Oh, hey, there is Carlos. Carlos, you've been killing it. I mean, tell you those. I hope you got my message. Seriously, some stuff. If you don't watch Carlos things on Boca Bushido, yeah, short little 6-7 minute things that are just kind of like opening up the can opener on my head and go, oh yes, why didn't I think of that? So anyway, that was it. I wanted to share this book tonight, a little bit of my history here in Seattle, let you know a little bit. Mount Rainier has done a lot in the area. It's so much named after it, but our Seattle Rainiers, the old baseball team, is still talked about, and still one of those things what a big sport it was. It was the only game in town. Unlike now, we have the Seahawks and the Mariners, and we have the what's our hockey team? The Kraken. Oh, yes. And our Sounders, our soccer team, and then our women's soccer team too. Um, it's there's a lot, but back then, it was a stadium that sat 12,000 people, and people came from all over Seattle. But Seattle was much smaller in the 50s. The most recent um, um, population count for the city of Seattle, is 800,000. That's not King County. That's the city of Seattle. That's not including Bellevue. That's not including Tacoma. No wonder our traffic is so bad. Anyway, I went to work at Girl Scouts. We stayed at the Holiday Inn next to the Space Needle. The book brought back happy memories. That Holiday Inn is still there, Lupe. And so they finally took down. No, the Elephant Car Wash is still there too. The big pink elephant, but they took another. Oh, there was a big thumb thing that they took down. But so many of those things that were put up around before the Space Needle and the things and all of that. But Six Stadium was part of the history, and it carries on. And with the manager going on to be having had the cancer center named after him, and all the people that played there and all the memories that it has, it just was one of those kind of fun things. And you'd think it's kind of silly to think, well, here's this kid and he's running the 12 blocks to the game, and would he be going over the mountain? Now you probably wouldn't see that happening because there's too much, but back then that was the kind of town it was. You could run all over the place in it. Thanks, Carlos. Yes, we had the big pink elephant, the big elephant car wash. That's kind of fun in Seattle. But yeah, it's a great thing. So you guys, thanks so much for being here. It has been a joy. It always is a joy to find books like this. It's one of those things that I get to take when I take myself to the library. I always am really excited to see what is out and what's there, and am I in the mood for some comedy, or have I got some other ones that I've got a couple other things that are just amazing stuff coming up. So everybody, you guys have a great for the rest of the week. Linda, keep that arm in a sling. Tamara, stay warm in Australia. Susan, I hope the thunderstorms pass. Carlos, keep, just that thread of brilliance just means a lot. I really tap into it. So thanks a bunch, everybody. So until next time, everyone, you just keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around you. But the first place you'll find it is when you go look in your own mirror. I'll see you next time.
In the heat of the night, we could get lost in all the lights and sounds. Feeling alright, we won't go home, we will just stay here downtown. There's not just stars on the boulevard, they're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards, I just need you by my side. We could be shameless, famous, running cool, with a love that leaves us weightless. Ooh, drop dead gorgeous, wow. Ooh, you got me feeling starstruck too. We could be famous, we could be famous. You blow my mind, looking
noisier.
Better than the usual. Yeah, you don't even try. Not average or typical. I put you on a pedestal.